Welcome to the Dental Business Experts Studio. I'm here with Timothy Brown, CEO of Roy Corporation. He's an authority figure and expert in the Canadian dental field. Hello, Timothy. How are you?
Phenomenal. Thanks for having me back, Galia.
Fantastic. Pacific Dental Conference is approaching. It's next week. And I would like to ask you a couple of questions. First question, how many trade shows have you been? And how do you navigate the trade show experience for yourself as a business owner, as an entrepreneur?
Wow. Dental trade shows specifically. I'll take all other industries out. I started attending when I was a young boy with my dad. So 150 dental trade shows, maybe 175. That's my best guess. I love them. I'm usually the first one in the room and the last one to leave. I love trade shows. But I'm on the other side of the aisle. I'm in the booth. You and your colleagues, you're in the aisle. So, what do I get out of a trade show? The social networking is incredible. There's always some great parties. There's lots of buffets. I don't care whether it's an old sandwich or not. I'm not there for the food. I'm there for the people and the interaction and the socializing, but the learning. And I do go with a plan. I look through the directory. I look at the lecturers, and then I look at the exhibitors in particular. I'm more exhibitor focused, and I make my target list of these are the 7 people I'm going to see at this trade show. And I get there, and I get there early, and I walk around. I don't sit in my booth the whole day. I have a team, so I can take turns staying in the booth and leaving. But you got to move, or you got to move around at these things. That's at least the exhibitor view. But you're the dentist. These shows are built for you. What's your experience with dental trade shows? And PDC is next week. I'm sure you'll be there. And do you go with a plan, or you just go to party?
Yes, that's a good question. PDC, obviously, it's the largest conference on our coast, west side of Canada. And a lot of people coming from British Columbia and from all over Canadian provinces. So it's a big show and a lot of exhibitors and a lot of presenters. What I find when I talk to the colleagues, and sometimes I read the blogs after the shows, and there is one big camp of dentists and dental assistants and hygienists and dental teams who basically go to the blog and say the sandwich was old, the bread was disgusting, the parking is expensive, nothing to learn. This is their attitude. They came to have fun and they got greatly disappointed because that's not what they expected. Some dentists just quit going because they say, well, nothing I can learn because they're already so experienced, been there, done that mentality. And then there is another group, it just had 1% of the dentists. That was me, including myself, when I learned how to navigate the trade shows. Because in one of my business mentorships, I asked, what do I do in a trade show? I don't want to just socialize. Is there something I can do? And my mentor said to me, Galia, take a piece of paper, take a pad, divide it into 2 columns. One column is your own state of business affairs, your frustrations. And the second column, most important, to put a word who, not the word what, but the word who. Not what you buy, not what you get, not what you listen, but who you're going to meet, who's going to take you where you want to go. So that was such a great advice, and I followed that. Since then, for every trade show, I would come with a piece of paper, and I had 7 or 10 names that I did not know in person, but I looked them up in directory, and was my who to go, introduce myself and ask question. And the question was, how can I take my practice to another level? How can I make additional $100,000 in production? That was my goal in my first trade show when I started doing that. I put $100,000 on the top, and then the question, who? And afterwards, I went, spend time. Sometimes I didn't have to go to the lectures because I had to spend time when there is a least number of people by the booth because everybody's in the lectures. I already had my continuing education points. I did not to be in the lecture rooms, right? So that's where I had the most time one-on-one, the experts. And after that, my practice took off because now I'm not focused on what, I was focusing on who. And that's what I would like to advise my colleagues. Take a pad, write it down, how much you want to increase your production, and then who you're going to meet in order to do that. It could be if you're preparing your practice for transition, if you're planning your exit, you definitely need to have 5 who's you're going to meet. and you have to have in-depth discussion or set up a follow-up meetings. And if you're a dentist who is not on the exit plan yet, right? You want to increase your production. You want to be more efficient. You want to serve more patients and make more impact. List, put a lines and say, I need to meet 5 people going to help me to do that. So that was my perspective. And it's definitely a shift the way I was thinking about the trade shows.